This video is for managers. If you have people working for you, this video is for you because firing is extremely difficult and I want to make sure you're doing the right things. I also want to point out in this video why crying CEO was right and then where he went totally wrong. So first of all, there are only two reasons you should ever have to let someone go. If the firm needs that person to go, so especially if you're working at a big bank, they might say, message came down from management, 3,000 people need to be fired. I'm not saying that's the right thing for the firm to do, but if that message comes down as a manager, you have to let people go. That's just terrible across the board because it could be the person doesn't deserve it. At one point, I was working and my manager got a phone call, stood up and said, well, that's it, and just left. So that's just awful when that happens, but that does happen. The second time people will get fired, or should get fired, is performance related. If they're actually causing the firm financial burden because they have salaries and they're just not producing. Or even worse, if they're doing something negative, which is hurting the firm, which I've seen and quite frankly I've done myself, and that means people have to come, other employees have to come and repair your damage, so to speak. So those are the two times when someone could or should be fired. When I was at Morgan Stanley in 2017, I overheard my manager having a conversation which I was not supposed to hear, and it made me gain so much respect for him. There was someone on our team the performance was very clearly terrible. That person was producing reports and they were awful and then trying to communicate with the stakeholders and couldn't communicate well, was getting one message and then delivering something else. It was very clear that this person could not stay doing this because this person was causing a lot of damage. And I heard my manager on the phone talking about this individual. And this is what I heard. I don't know if he was talking to HR or to someone else. He said, look, this is really not working out for the team. And I know by firm standards, we have to let this person go. But is there any other team we think this person could fit on within the firm, maybe some sort of other role so that we don't have to let this person go? The manager was just thinking, this is an individual I have to take care of. I'm responsible for this person. I know right now this person's hurting our team, but this is a human and we have to take care. I gained so much respect for him after overhearing that call that I was not supposed to overhear, that my mindset completely shifted. Once I went over to a manager at Amazon and let him know that I just had to let someone go. And I was kind of expecting a different reaction, something like, oh, that's terrible, or how did the person feel? How did you feel? I didn't get any of that. He immediately turned to me and asked me two questions. And those two questions were, was it a surprise for that person? Because if it was, you did something very wrong. And secondly, did you as the manager do everything you could to prevent it? Now, these two questions are specific to a case where an employee is not performing well. So it has to not be a surprise. You have to communicate for a while. Look, this is not working. You need to stop doing this. This is where you need to improve. Maybe hire outside coaching or help, or have the person take a course so maybe they can improve. And then, and that kind of goes along with not being a surprise, but as well as doing all you can to prevent, or in the case of my manager at Morgan Stanley, trying to find a different team which would be appropriate for this person. Now, I want to talk about feelings for a minute because this is very important, specifically with all the media hype around crying CEO posting a selfie crying on social media. The reality is, and you're going to freak out for a minute, but as someone who took 3 years of psychology, I think I'm comfortable saying this. At the moment of firing, emotionally, it's more difficult for the person doing the firing than the person being fired. This is specifically in a case where the manager has a heart. I know there are some cases where managers are just jerks. I can't do anything about that. If the manager is a human being and has a heart, it is more difficult for the manager at the moment of firing. And let me explain to you why. When someone gets fired, the reaction might be surprise, which it shouldn't be, but it's going to be anger. And anger is a very natural reaction or feeling. Every time someone cuts you off on the street, you get angry. Do you try to suppress that or stop being angry? No, you let it out and you chase that person or whatever. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm saying it's very natural. Having to go to someone and make a terrible negative change on their life is always a super awkward feeling, and nobody Nobody likes being awkward. If someone told you to like take a knife and, cut your skin or something gross, you'd feel very awkward about it. And you wouldn't be able to do it. Or look at something disgusting, you'd look away. People don't like feeling awkward or sad. And when a manager has to go and fire someone, they feel totally awkward and uncomfortable. So at that moment, the feeling is bad for the manager. Worse even than the person being fired. And I think that's where Crying CEO kind of got it right. Like, oh man, I just had to let 3 people go. Terrible, what an awful feeling, and then crying. But where he totally missed the mark, and I think this is where everyone's getting very upset, is the second that feeling's over, this other person now doesn't have a job, might have children, mortgage to pay, and doesn't have income, which gives them stress. They won't be able to sleep. They now have to explain to a new job why there's a gap in the resume, why they were let go. Now their whole life is about to come crashing down, and you just move on with your company. So you're the one posting the crying selfie. So if it comes to a point where a manager must let someone go, the manager has to snap out of that emotional funk or whatever as soon as possible and do everything in his or her power to help this employee that has to get let go. So in the event that there is no team within the company, reach out to people, reach out to your network, try to connect them with this employee. And look, if the employee wasn't performing great, focus on something else. Talk about what an amazing person it is, or try to find a place where you think it would be appropriate to put that person. It's especially in big banks, HR will tell you not to do this. They will tell you as a manager, don't engage, only bad can come from it. You know what? Ignore that, okay? I've been in a big bank and I've ignored HR sometimes. You need to ignore them, and you need to realize this is a human who needs your help right now. You are in a much better position to help. You have a much bigger network. Do what you can and be a human and help this individual. And don't post selfies of yourself crying, because right now it's not about you, it's about them. I know this is a different video than my typical video. I really hope managers are watching this and going forward, they always ask themselves, is this a surprise? And am I doing everything I can to keep this person here? And if the manager must let the person go, how can I make this pain as short as possible by helping this person find their next position? I hope this helps, and I'll see you next week.